Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staub. We've got a big hour of automotive stuff for you, along with Les Jackson, your automotive stuff.
Here, sir.
We're going to be talking about Alfa this hour, and that is not an Alfa. We're going to be talking about
That's
Alfa this hour. That's where
that's
you
my
can see how
Lexus
I
I'm
would,
testing.
that would, yeah, we're talking about the Alfa brand. Larry Dominique, Senior Vice President of the Alfa brand for North America, is going to join us, tell us about the future of the brand. A lot going on there, and they have the Tonale, their small
Yes.
crossover, and that's going to be the last internal combustion engine vehicle that they sell in the U.S. So
Isn't that amazing? It's happening. Uh, has to happen.
yeah.
And if you haven't been in electric, you really owe it to yourself to drive one. You're going to love it.
And speaking of electrics, here is the EX90, a full 7-seat SUV from the folks at Volvo, all electric, very cool looking. I like the updated look of
Big.
their tail lights, which is pretty cool.
Yep. And once again, I'm not fond of the wheels.
Les is more of a traditional guy, or the
Well,
big screen in the center. I know you're
yeah,
not a fan of
big.
that.
Yeah. Well, I like things looking more integrated.
How about if you want something completely different, talking about Lexus, how about the LX 600, their Gigantor model, the top of the range? We'll talk about that.
That's the big one.
That is the huge, huge, huge one. We'll talk about that. Yeah, a lot to get to. We'll also talk about the Honda Pilot, which is pretty cool. They have their Trail Sport model, which is sort of their, I guess, would be roughly equivalent to the Wilderness model in the Subaru lineup.
Right.
A little bit more rough and ready, but we'll tell you about that. So a lot of new vehicles coming out. We're getting a lot of information on 2023s. Also, an interesting story, Les. I would categorize this as why has it taken so long? There is a female test dummy now. One company has come up with a female crash test dummy,
Hmm.
and they are saying that it will make things a lot safer in vehicles for
But
women.
NHTSA has had female don't crash test dummies for years.
Apparently, they were male crash test dummies. Just this is a
Oh, that were
anatomically correct one.
okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Um, I like that idea.
it's all coming
Uh,
up though on Cruise Control when we go live. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson.
Control.
Everything you need to know about new and used cars.
Control.
Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air.
Control.
Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin
Control.
because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right. Your ride is about to begin. Oh, whoa! It has
Boy,
begun already.
we started.
Yeah, welcome to Cruise Control. Hello, everyone. I'm Fred Staub. This is Les Jackson, and
He's here.
we've got a bucket load of stuff to talk about, Les, including a new vehicle from Volvo, the EX90 7-seat all-electric SUV. We'll tell you a little bit about that. some of the
That-
cool technology that's
Yeah.
involved there.
That is a big vehicle. And Mazda can't meet the demand for one of its new models. That's always a good position to be in, as long as you ultimately could meet it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll tell you about that, and then talking tech. It's what took so long. Well, one company finally develops a female crash test dummy, and it should make things a lot safer for women in cars.
Yeah, that's a good story. We're going to get into that. And the Kia EV GT, we're not the ones that put the letters on these, gets priced. And could this replace another model in the lineup? Well, anytime they tease that idea, usually it happens.
Yeah, already it's replaced the Stinger in Europe. We'll have to see if that's what the plan is for that in the U.S. Plus, we're going to take a look at what's going on at Alfa. And Larry Dominique, who's the Senior Vice President of the Alfa Romeo brand North America, will join us to tell us what's going on at the brand. And, you know, Les, they have their Tonale vehicle.
Tonale.
And that is going to be their last internal combustion engine vehicle. So we'll talk about that.
That is just amazing. Of course, that'll be like a 5 or 6 year model run. And I was introduced live to the Tonale a few weeks ago at our annual automotive press event.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to drive it?
I did.
Okay. And
well, it's an Alfa. So, you know, if you don't have fun in an Alfa, then you probably should be taking the bus.
yeah. All right. Well, we don't want you to take the bus. We want you to stay right here on cruise control because there's a lot going on. And as I told you, there are tons of new vehicles being revealed, Les, and it is just incredible. I mean, the fact that you know, I love who you have right there.
This is of course one of the cruise control quality control cats.
Right there.
As soon as he heard there's an Alfa, he said, "I want to ride in it."
He's like, wait a minute, that sounds like a show I'm going to watch. So, hey,
Yep.
when we come back, it's all going to begin on Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. That is Bunter's Tail. And we will,
That's right.
we
That's
will
right.
see you right after this. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine. Fred and I are raring to go, and we're going to start with an introduction to the new fully electric, big, full-size, 7-passenger Volvo EX90. And as usual, Volvo has done their homework. Oh,
of course they have.
Of course, and it's just loaded with all the safety features. I do like most of the interior except for one thing.
Yep.
Outside, it certainly doesn't look small.
It looks like an XC90.
It looks like a big XC90. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely got the kind of the squarish looks. It has a modern take on the tail lights that typically would run right down the back pillar of the vehicle. They're a little bit more modernized, a little bit smaller. What they haven't done is they haven't made it look like the typical electric vehicle going for the absolute best aerodynamics. It still maintains a familiar shape. But you don't like the interior because of that big screen.
Well, yeah. I don't like big, oversized screens in interiors because they just look out of place to me.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why they're there, but that's fine. The rest of it, though, it's Volvo always has high quality, very comfortable interiors.
Well, what's interesting here? This has state-of-the-art sensors. It has LiDAR in it, radar, and they're all connected to the car's high-performance core computers with NVIDIA drive. NVIDIA, of course, is a company. If you use high-end computers, or gaming computers, they make high-end graphics cards, amongst other things. And they are using that technology to create a real-time 360-degree view of the world. And pretty exciting stuff, this vehicle. I think we're not going to see this for another, 6 months or so. Probably they're saying it is a 2024 model. You can pre-order it. And they are expected to be built at the Charleston, South Carolina plant. And they can receive their cars in fall of 2023.
That's right. I love their invisible shield inside that actually watches your eye gaze concentration.
Yes.
And if you're getting distracted or drowsy, it softly nudges you, as they say.
A hammer comes out of the ceiling.
And then more insistent. And if you fall asleep, it'll actually stop itself and call for help.
But will it pull over first in case you're nodding off on a highway? It won't
I'm sure it will.
It won't just slam on the brakes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it'll do that. But that's terrific stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It will be priced under $80,000. They say it will have a 300-mile range, 5G connection where available. So that's kind of all we know right now. But it is Les will be loving that big tablet in there. It's interesting. They stuck with kind of the traditional shape of this vehicle. I mean, it is, for all intensive purposes, you could say that is an XC90.
Well, and Volvo. Yeah, Volvo's a form follows function kind of engineering company, and making a big 7-passenger SUV, they're not going to be tempted by sleeking it down and lowering the roof and all that and making it more difficult for people to get in. They're building it or designing it practically.
Practicality. That's good. That's good. Hey, let's talk about something from Mazda that is practical and apparently very popular. One of Mazda's models, the CX-50, which I would describe also as their sort of like, once again, it's one of those more capable soft rotors, and they're kind of taking a page out of Subaru here. maybe the Subaru Wilderness with the big graphic on the hood, and they really just can't keep up with the demand for this. It's a massive hit with buyers. According to Automotive News, there's a labor shortage at its Huntsville, Alabama factory where it's built.
It's amazing.
And they have also struggled with, like everyone, chips and things like that. But it is certainly a popular vehicle. We haven't had one to drive yet. I'm interested to do that, but who knows when we will
And
get
I
that.
drove one briefly at the event a couple weeks ago. Very nice driver.
Well, we will talk more about that when we come back, and the Kia EV GT. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is none other than Les Jackson, and we are taking you on a ride around the automotive industry. Little talking tech here. Swedish scientists have built the world's first female crash dummy. And Les and I were talking. He said, well, don't they have female crash test dummies? Apparently, they're just male dummies
size,
dressed up as females.
Right,
I guess.
size and weight.
Yeah.
But not anthropologically accurate.
Exactly.
And I never knew that. And I'm, as you know, I can practically see the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration from my window.
Yeah. Well, Apparently, according to the study via Science Direct, a number of women have soft tissue neck injuries,
Yep.
whiplash, in car accidents, and that's attributed to poor seat design. And really, that this has not been taken into account when they build these dummies. And now, a group of Swedish academics have decided to build one that will really represent the upper torso of women and how their neck can be injured in a different way than men. And I think this is a great idea. You think about that. We always talk about this, and they build cars to the what percentile?
Well, to the 80th percentile.
And that is what, a 6'2" male?
Um, well, actually, no, it's actually still around 5'10" or 11.
5'10" or 11. Okay.
But a female is 5'5"
Right, or shorter. And
or shorter.
And we know plenty of shorter women that are in the automotive testing world, and just say, "Hey, I can't fit in this car. I can't put the seat any closer than it is." So this is a good point. And you think about it. Some women sit very close to the steering wheel, so they can reach the pedals.
That's right.
I'm surprised adjustable pedals have. You see them in trucks and that, but you don't see them a lot in cars.
They're only in 19 models of vehicles.
You just pulled that fact right out of your head.
Well, that's right. And they should be in virtually everything.
Yeah.
But only 19 out of 300 different models you can buy. So it's time to change things.
Well, you think about this; it's all drive-by-wire now for the most part, and it's easy to move them because you're.
That's right. They're not connected to anything.
It's sort of like
mechanical.
The racing simulators. There's the pedals, and they're on just a board, and you can slide it back and forth. It's not too hard. Even if they made them manually adjustable, less, like certain steering wheels, you pull it forward to you, back, forward, up, down.
Well, that's what the Viper was. Their pedals were all adjustable because the seats didn't move.
So that's
and they were mechanical.
Yeah, I just think it'd be a great safety feature for anyone that is.
I think so too.
I mean, I'm 5'8". I don't know how tall you are. You're not
5'8".
Yeah. So for certainly on manual transmission vehicles, I have to move the seat pretty far up to get the clutch pedal in.
You sure do. This is overdue. It's a great added value feature for the marketing people.
Yeah.
You can charge money for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's great. Hey, let's move over to Kia and talk about their Kia EV6 pricing. Very cool vehicle. I had one of these not that long ago. Had the matte finish on it, which was really nice. But they've come up with more lines of this vehicle for 2023. We have pricing on it. The Wind is their 225 horsepower rear wheel drive model, 310 mile range, 48,500. I know you were saying I'm getting too comfortable with these prices, but okay.
No, there's no choice here. You can't arbitrarily change it.
Yeah. The Wind all-wheel drive, 320 horsepower, 282 miles of range, 52,400. Does a great burnout, though. Look at that.
It does do that well. Some of us have been known to try it.
Yeah. The GT line, which was sort of a mid-range model between the GT and the Wind, still has the same horsepower, 225 horsepower, 52,700. The GT line all-wheel drive, 57,400. And then the GT, 576 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 206 miles. I bet you go through that mileage pretty quickly on that car because you do things like that burnout, right?
Absolutely. But they're not inexpensive.
They're not inexpensive. No, they're not. And some of the talk, there's been talk, Les Jackson, some of the talk is about the fact that the Stinger might be going away and the EV6 GT might be replacing it in the lineup. Now, this has already happened in Europe. We don't know if
Yeah.
it's going to happen in the U.S. It might be safe for another model year. It might just be safe, but they're probably not going to update it. So, you could be looking at a 576 horsepower EV6 GT as the replacement for the Stinger. Stinger, they had high hopes for that vehicle. I went on the launch of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Lot of Audi in there because, of course, their designer had designed Audis before, but I don't know if it ever caught on. I think it
don't
would be
think it did.
a great vehicle to look at. I wonder what they cost used.
Yeah, I have never looked to see what they cost used. It didn't. What didn't make the splash here that I think they thought it would.
I agree. I agree.
But maybe it'll be collectible.
Yeah. Or it'll either be collectible or it'll be a fun vehicle to get and for not a lot of money and have a good time
Yeah,
in it. So,
that's right.
yeah. So, a future collectible or a future fun vehicle, maybe. We'll have to see. Well, Les will be checking out those numbers during the break, I guess.
I will.
As you always do, yeah. When we come back, we're going to take a trip and talk about Alfa. And Alfa, of course, has the Tonale crossover. But that is not that press because our guest was a little bit upset with Larry Duffy, Senior Vice President of America. He's going to join us next to talk about what's going on at Alfa and the future and some of the updates they've done. Next model year already. So Larry's going to join us after the break and kind of fill us in on what's going on. Interesting brand. There's an article about how their designers will not be a slave to aerodynamics. They want to keep things looking sporty. I
Yep.
want to ask Larry about that and see what might be coming down the road from Alfa. We'll talk about that and more on Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out our YouTube page. You're never going to miss a show because it's everywhere. We got podcasts, we've got videos up on our YouTube page, so check it out. Stinger, though, Les, yeah, I wonder if that will be it's either a future collectible or it's either that or a fun car with good performance for not a lot of money. I wonder if they're holding their value.
I'm going to find out.
Okay, and coming up next hour also, we're going to talk about cars that depreciate and cars that hold their value. Good information if you're going out to buy a vehicle or just want to factor that in. But when we come back, we're going to talk Alfa, so stay tuned to Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. We're going to be talking Alfa this segment. Alfa Romeo, of course.
Yep.
They have their Tonale, which is their wonderful small crossover that has been making the rounds. We're waiting for Larry Dominique, who is the Senior Vice President of the Alfa Romeo brand. About this vehicle. I like those wheels. I call them
Well, Alfa always is stylish. It's always an extension of your arms and legs.
It's like a suit. In other words, you wear a suit and look nice. That's style. Italian. Really nice. So that's kind of the take on Alfa. Interesting article I read about Alfa will a this article called it a shouty EV. I wasn't quite sure what that meant, what a shouty EV was.
Yeah.
But they won't build that, they said, just for the sake of being an electric vehicle. And I think what they mean is they won't just build something that for the sake of being aerodynamic, and not being an Alfa.
Yeah. It's got to look like an Alfa.
Yeah, it's got to look like an Alfa. And, I think case in point, you look at some of these recent Mercedes and even Kia, they have built vehicles that are designed for aerodynamics that it almost looks like it's like a melted car. It's very low in the back. And the problem with that, and you and I have talked about this, is that every car starts to look the same because you're going for that coefficient of drag.
They do.
And then it's like you just have a kind of everything looking the same, right?
And many of them are very difficult to get into.
Yeah.
Not just because you're older, but because you have to just do too much, squirming to get in them.
I think we might have Larry Dominique with us right now. Larry, we'll see if you're there. Maybe
There he is.
Getting ready. Yep.
I am. Good morning, gentlemen.
All right.
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. We appreciate you being with us. And we were just talking a little bit about how the Tonale is doing and all that. Maybe you're the better person, though, to bring us up to date on that. Last time we talked, you had just brought it out, and it was exciting, and now it's been on the market for a couple of months, I guess, right?
Well, it's been on the market in Europe, Fred, not here yet. So we actually launched in the North American market, actually in Q1, so in a couple of months. Interestingly, we're going to actually be launching in Canada first, and then a couple months later, we'll be in the U.S. market as well. So production has started already for the North American product, but it's been on sale in Europe for almost 6 months, doing extremely well. We're very pleased. Recently, we just had some great reviews coming out of the European press related to the performance of the vehicle. So far, very, very excited about this product coming out, especially for us. It's a new product in a new segment for us, for our dealers. First electrified Alfa Romeo, first with the full Uconnect 5, so kind of a true state-of-the-art Alfa Romeo.
And what's interesting is this potentially could be the last internal combustion engine Alfa that you will build, at least for the U.S. market. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world.
No, actually for globally. So Tonale is our last, it's our first electrified and our last internal combustion engine vehicle. Every vehicle will come out after that. We've talked about staying in the Stelvio segment, staying in the Giulia segment, looking at the E segment. Everything that comes out after the Tonale launch will be BEV only.
Well, as so many other companies are doing, electric is the future. And I'm curious, having been an Alfa owner, I wasn't allowed to drive it because it was my wife's car, and she very smartly would not allow me to drive. But You really do have to drive an Alpha to feel what they're like, because they're like no other vehicle to drive. They're truly a driver's car. They're an extension of your arms and legs, and your emotions,
Yep.
because you know you're in an Alpha. You just it's like a friend. So doing that conventionally for the what Alpha's well over 100 years old as a company. Uh,
112.
how do you engineer uh, the electrics to do that? We've driven lots of electrics and they're terrific, um, but it needs, it still has to be
Yeah.
alpha-ish. That's a word, I think.
It's a great question, Les. And the way we think about our brand in general, we don't start thinking about the drivetrain. We start thinking about Alfa Romeo. So everything we do has to be Alpha first, meaning the way the vehicle is going to accelerate, the way the vehicle is going to dynamically perform, the braking feel, the steering gain, and on center feel. So when we think about electrification, we're first identifying the targets for the vehicle. So whether it's the Giulia, the Stelvio, or whichever vehicle it might be, we're setting targets for the vehicle from a performance point of view. What's great about the opportunity with the electrification is today, for example, with Stelvio, I have a 280 horsepower, which is the Sprint, the TI, and the Veloce. And you have different variations. We have different suspensions, we have different wheels, we have different performance. And then you go to the Quadrifoglio, obviously at 505 horsepower. But with electrification, I'm going to be able to differentiate grades by performance, meaning the Sprint might come in at, let's say, 300 horsepower. The TI might come in at 400 horsepower, the Veloce at 550, and the Quadrifoglio at 900. So we have this opportunity to tune a little more precisely. So different combinations of acceleration performance, dynamic performance. And I'm really excited about that because now we have customer choice. It's more luxury, more performance. So we give the customers a little bit more choice. Today, and I ran product planning for many years for another OEM, and trying to identify the differentiation between your trim grades sometimes can become a cosmetic exercise, to say the least. So we're focusing on that really being driver-centric. And that's actually how we started with Tonali as well. We really are focusing on technology to support driver centricity, not technology just for technology's sake.
Larry, Les and I were just talking before you joined us, and there was an interesting article. I don't know where this originally originated. It says it was a conversation with your new design boss that talked to Top Gear in Europe. And we've been seeing a lot of vehicles that are looking the same because they're going for that coefficient of drag. And sadly, while that's a cool look, they all start to look the same. And your design folks said they're not going to do that. They're not going to just build a large electric SUV just to hit that drag coefficient and then just slap a Alfa sticker on it. It has to look like an Alfa. It has to look sporty.
Yeah, it's interesting, Fred. Alejandro came over from Seat in Europe. And in the first conversations I've had with him, what I love is as Les had mentioned, we have almost 113 years of history and pretty consistent DNA in this brand. So the vehicle is always about beauty, design, to a certain degree, simplicity. If you look at a lot of our Cali meters, if you look at our instrument panel design over the years, they're fairly simple in general. And Alejandro wants to keep that DNA, layering in the right level of technology. So we're not going to be in screen wars. We're not going to be just to see who could package. We'd rather be smart with the technology and make it easier for the customer to use without having to go overboard on an iPad with a car wrapped around it. Mm-hmm. And what Alejandro wants to do is keep that DNA heritage of simplicity with modernity. And it's not an easy task, although I've seen the next Stelvio, I've seen the next Giulia, and I think he's doing an amazing job. So it's great to have that kind of passion for the brand at the design side, because even if you look at the current Stelvio and Giulia, which you've got on screen right now, or if you look at the Tonale, we truly have this heritage. You can go back to the Spiders, you can go back to the 8Cs, the 6Cs, and you're going to see a tremendous amount of commonality from a heritage point of view.
Yeah, yeah, and it just has to, if we lose style in the automotive industry, we lost everything. It's all about style. It's like the fashion industry. You can have the same pair of pants and they work fine, but you don't want the same pair of pants. You want something that looks stylish and is different. And it really is fashion, it's technology, and a whole lot more. And we're going to talk about a whole lot more when we come back on Cruise Control with Larry Dominique, who's the head of the Alfa brand for North America. Exciting times for the brand. A lot of changes going on, great vehicles, and maybe we'll ask him about what's new for 2023. So when we come back, that's what we'll do. Stay tuned to Cruise Control. Chat during the break here, Larry. This was an interesting Alfa story. I don't know if you saw this, but I know Alfa has a tremendous amount of clubs. There's some
58.
58. Yeah, that's got to be a record, I bet. But somebody was transporting this two-door 1938 Alfa 8C, and the trailer was stolen with the car. This vehicle, it's like what, $20 million or something like that?
23 million. This just popped on my Google feed this morning.
Man.
Wow. So
Man.
if that helps anyone, if they see that, or it was an F350. I think the original article this was attached to said it was an S350. I said I've never heard of a Ford truck called an S350. It sounds more like a Mercedes, but. Yeah, it was an F350 with a 3-axle trailer. Someone basically got in and hot-wired the truck, and it was gone. And I think they may have known what was in there.
They must have known.
Yeah, but
what's fascinating to me is that's not something you can easily sell in the used car market.
How do you fence that? So he must have a buyer already somewhere
out of the country or
South
something. America
or Russia.
Yeah. Sad. I hope they get it back. And I hope
it's a very, very rare car.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah, we don't like seeing that. You shouldn't be messing with people's stuff, and in certain places that can get you into a lot of trouble if they find you doing it.
For sure.
Yeah. So, well, that is a sad story. But when we come back on Cruise Control with Larry, we're going to talk about some of the new things going on with their current models for 2023, some of the updates. So stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We have a great guest, Larry Dominique, who is the head of the Alfa brand for North America. Larry is joining us with us and is telling us a little bit about what's going on at the brand. Of course, electrification coming with the Tonale, which I thought was out already, but I know, Larry, we talked about it a while ago, and I guess I just assumed it was here. I can't wait to get into it and check it out. I think it's going to do so well for you. Of course, there is a hybrid version of it as well, right? And that is a first for Alfa.
Yeah, interesting, Fred. We've made the decision in the North American market, in the US in particular, to come to market with just one drivetrain. And the reason we chose this is it's because it's the best powertrain for the product. So we're going to be plug-in hybrid only on Tonale.
Okay.
Now, we're not thinking of it as a lot of brands are thinking about electrification as, okay, you can buy the internal combustion version or you can get the electrified version. For us, we've always designed, as we go back to our discussion earlier about Alfa first, electrification second, the Tonale with the plug-in hybrid is our 285 horsepower, 305 pound-feet of torque. We have vectoring all-wheel drive standard. We have on the upper trim grades, frequency selective dampening available on all four corners. So we wanted to come to market with the best CUV that just happens to be electrified. So you're going to get over 32 miles of pure autonomy from an electrification point of view. The vehicle has almost a perfect 50-50 weight balance front to back, which is very Alfa-like.
Yeah.
We have a steering ratio of 13.6, so one of probably the most aggressive in the segment. So we're really delivering Alfa performance on inside or attached to Alfa beauty. So we're not gonna differentiate powertrains. We're just gonna come in with the best powertrain.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the other lineup. What's new for 2023 across the Alfa lineup?
So in calendar year 23, as a 24 model year, we just shared photos in Europe with the minor change. So a lot of people know the Giulia and Stelvio have been around for about 4 or 5 years. There was one minor change a few years ago. We're going to do one more final minor change before the new models come in. And it's primarily focused on bringing that family resemblance. So you saw with Tonale that tri-light signature on the front and the back.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing that with the Stelvio and Giulia. So the Stelvio and Giulia for 2024 model year, which will be late spring 23, are going to have the same basic look to their headlights as the new Tonale has. New LED arrangements in the rear taillights, new front grille, and area in the front, the tri-lobo area in the front, and then a new full 12.3-inch TFT configurable cluster on the inside as well. So trying to bring, just the final little bit of step of modernity, family resemblance. So the entire lineup will be the most modern look. We continue to deliver with amazing powertrains on Stelvio and Giulia and on the Giorgio platform, which is probably the best dynamic platform in production today.
Before we run out of time, although we're doing fine, but I just want to bring up the fact that Alfa just topped the luxury segment in JD Power.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a big deal for any manufacturer. And this is owner satisfaction. Now, of course, if you drive it, you're pretty satisfied pretty quickly. But congratulations. That's something.
Great news.
I appreciate that, Les. It's a really important opportunity for us. So when I came into the brand a little under 2 years ago, we were second to last in sales satisfaction, and we were last in service satisfaction. So last year we moved up 6 positions, and we have focused on 3 key elements in our brand with our dealers and with my team. Number 1 is customer satisfaction. Number 2 is quality in vehicles, quality in service, quality in processes. And then finally is profitability. If the dealers aren't profitable, if we're not profitable, there is no future. And so we have put a team together that's dedicated to Alfa Romeo. We have worked really, really hard on the customer satisfaction side. And I was thrilled to see that we had won the premium luxury over Porsche. We've moved up from a position point of view, 9 points or 9 positions in the last year.
That's huge. Because, everybody's competing with you, and they're competing really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the dealers, I won't ask you how you did it, but obviously the
But
dealers,
how'd you do it, Larry?
the dealers, are a big part of that,
Absolutely.
and they really had to step up.
I'd say less. It was about focus. So again, before when Alpha came back in 2014 with the 4C, then Julia, then Stelvio, I'd say we reintroduced the brand after a long absence, of course. But there really wasn't, I would say there just wasn't the focus we needed at the corporate level or at the dealer level on making sure we're doing all the blocking and tackling as a premium brand should. My third day in this job, I had an all dealer call and I said, guys, we are a premium brand. We attract premium customers. We're going to treat our customers the right way. And it starts with us as the manufacturer. We need to make sure we give you great cars with great quality, with great performance at the right price, with the right specs and features. And I said, on your side, your job is to treat the customers a certain way. And kudos to my network. They have worked hand in hand with us, working with my team, developing the right processes, the right mindset, the right follow-up with the customers. And it truly is about embracing this. And the great news, Fred and Les, is what we're seeing is over the last year and a half, as we've enhanced this, I would say even the quality of our customer has gone up. We're seeing a more fluent customer, we're seeing a more demanding customer, but now they're confident that Alpha will deliver on that promise.
Wow, that is great news. It really
is.
It's great work, Larry. I mean, to bring that up, the experience up there, and how many dealers do you have, and are they standalone dealers, or they have other brands as well?
Great question, Fred. So we have 134 dealers across the country. We have 16 in Canada, 10 in Mexico. And from a standalone point of view, about 79 of those dealers are dualed with Maserati. So if you think about Stellantis, our parent company, we are the global premium brand. Maserati is our global luxury brand. So the two together are close partners. I work very closely with my counterpart at Maserati. So we have 79 shared showrooms. We share about 30 with Fiat. So I also have responsibility for Fiat. So that works well for me. And then we have about 20 that are standalone stores. But we're pretty bi-coastal right now. So our strongest pockets of performance are the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, St. Petersburg, and then Southern California. We're really working hard over the next couple of years to really bring our market share up in the Chicagos, Atlantas, Dallases, Denvers of the world.
I'll ask you this, Larry, with electrification coming up, and it's something that I think we can ask since Dodge has been doing this. Sound is so important to vehicles. Dodge, of course, has done some unique technology. They showed it off. That's coming up to make their electric vehicles sound, well, sort of like an internal combustion vehicle, maybe not so much in other ways. But what do you think about that for the Alfa brand? Does it need to have a specific sound?
It's a great question, and one we're still discussing. So obviously there's regulatory requirements at low speeds from a standpoint of sound visibility, if you want to call it that. But as relative to higher speed driving, we haven't decided yet what we want to do. I'm torn between artificial sound and the experience that you want to give the consumer. So you talk to some electrification or some EV vehicle owners, and they like the silence. There are others that miss sound of some sort. And I think a lot of the manufacturers are all looking at this, trying to decide what to do. Dodge, obviously, with their muscle car heritage, makes perfect sense what Tim Kuniskis and the team over there are trying to do. But we're still exploring that. No final decisions made, but I'd say we have some time, but we don't have much time.
Just to wrap up, where should people go to check out all the new Alfas?
Well, so you can go to Alfa Romeo USA. So the great news, guys, is even with our new Tonale, we have a dedicated widget within our website for Tonale. You can go in and sign up. You can raise your hand. You can ask for more information. For Tonale, we're going to be announcing pricing very, very soon. We're already taking dealer orders, and starting in the beginning of Q1, we're going to be able to take direct customer orders as well, directly from the website. So Alfa Romeo USA is where we really need you to go to get started.
All right. right. Well, Larry, Dominique, we will have to have you back because there's so much going on at Alpha. Thanks for joining us on Cruise Control.
Great. Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Les. Always a pleasure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We're going to see you guys down the road. Take care.
Bye.